Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Agnelina and today I'm here with my 10th knitting podcast episode. It's been a year from I think from the first one or almost a year. In 2 days when I'm filming this it will be my birthday, October 17, so I'm quite excited and I have what to show to you. So I am Lithuanian, currently living in Norway. I live together with my fiancé and we have 2 lovely chinchillas. I was feeling quite down lately. I am officially undiagnosed, but I start seeking diagnosis for ADHD and autism with high functioning, with a lot of masking. So I managed to live my life quite well, except that nowadays I am struggling with at work. I cannot concentrate, then I don't do my work as well as I would or as I could, then I feel disappointed and drained out of energy, so in the evenings I'm left with just watching Netflix and knitting. So yeah, I have what to show for knitting talk, but I was not filming or doing other hobbies as much as I would like to. So let's start as always with my finished object, what I'm wearing. It's my own improvisation cardigan, my first ever cardigan, and I called this, or I called it as potentially maybe one day writing pattern idea cardigan, and I feel like I failed quite a lot with it. It is knitted with Drops Cotton Merino yarn and I got the wrong batch, or the faulty batch, so I got my money back. And at first I was not sure because it is superwash, so I wasn't unsure, maybe it's not that superwash, so we'll just need to wash by hands. But when I was finished this sweater and I was washing it, it felt like it bleed color a lot. It was really blue water, so maybe, I don't know, the dye didn't yeah, maybe the dyes chemicals were not used, in the proper way or whatever. Maybe it didn't stick that well or whatever. But yeah, the yarn I liked. It showed me that it will grow, so I calculated and I was expecting it to grow it a bit more, especially, I know, lengthwise, I don't know, maybe width-wise. But I feel like I overestimated how it would grow. I knitted it a little bit too short. Student sleeves are not long enough for the body. I think I didn't measure it really well, and then just, oh, it will grow. And for, I don't know, the bust and waist shaping, I left, or the sleeves, I left just enough space to fit in. And I feel like this cardigan would be way better if I just, make a deeper raglan. And another problem, I think, that I started with a little bit too wide neckline, so it's quite difficult now to pair with other tops, because if it is, I don't like that here around the neck would be, the tops would be showing, and then I don't want to do, I don't know, sometimes clashes with this really deep v-neck, all other tops, because if it is almost v-neck but it shows a little bit, then it looks strange, and if it looks around the neck, you can see the top, it also doesn't look good. So I feel like I was having really huge expectations for this to be my perfect, everyday black classical cardigan I can wear with everything, and I feel like really difficult to style it. So I'm keeping it in mind as a possibility to reknit this, frog it and knit it again in summertime, but give it, the whole winter time as a possibility. Still wear it because it's still wearable, and see exactly, do I just need like prolonged sleeves, like reknit most of the sleeves, they're supposed to be balloony, but yeah, they are not that voluminous. The body is a little bit short because, yeah, so for those things I just can prolong, frog it a little and knit again as long as I want. But something like neckline, that would be nice because it is top down, then start again. And I don't know, yeah, as another thing is so that I want a little bit deeper raglan, so I would have a little bit more fabric, I don't know, for the arms. And for the bust, the only good thing is that those buttons are not gaping that much, so at least my calculations were exactly right, because I done a lot of body shaping and bust shaping. Yeah, I increased here for more stitches than in the back, so I have enough space for the bust, and then I decreased in the waist, and I think I done the door, but I'm not sure if it's seeable. I think it is seeable. So it has like perfect fit, but in the same time it's not perfect, because as always, I think I was so afraid of baggy fitting that I didn't give myself enough loose gauge, because even if I would give it a few more centimeters in the sleeves, like positives, around the bust, around the waist, it still can follow my body shape, but it wouldn't just be so small, because it feels it's too small. But yeah, I called it Adya cardigan. This is my first ever cardigan. It was so strange because the first yokes went so quickly. They went so quickly. Then the sleeve I was frogging and knitting and frogging, and apparently they are not good enough, so I still need to maybe frog it again. It felt like it was taking a long time, but maybe it was taking maybe 2 weeks for both sleeves. And then the body was also quite, it felt long process, but not too long. Then I knitted a little t-shirt, and then it will grow. It didn't grow that much. And then button band was taking, I think, more than a week. It was really time-consuming process. Even it wasn't difficult, but it was time-consuming. So that was also quite interesting to see, ups and downs, and it was, oh, it's so going so quickly, and then nah, it's not going quickly at all. And oh yeah, I'm close to finish. It's just this button band cannot finish at all. But yeah, and I chose those buttons. So if I will reknit this, I think I will try to find one more button, because I think those, now I have 5, but if I want a little bit longer, maybe 6 will be better, especially safe from gaping. And I think the first button can go a little bit upper, because it was quite difficult to see where the v-neck ends and those bust shaping increases are, so maybe here would be also the better fit, a little bit, better v-neck shape. And if I would start again, I would start with less stitches, so it would come closer to my neck, so it would hide more fabrics of the t-shirts or whatever, and it would be way easier to pair it with something. And of course, longer sleeves. Of course, with the clock, it is not as uncomfortable, but for this, it's just not long enough. So this was a little bit, as I said, I have a lot of hopes for this sweater to become my main thing that I wear in this transitional weather with dresses or tops, maybe because it's black, maybe to the office or whatever, and look, chic. And I don't feel that in this sweater. And because of that, I think that I can just reknit it. I still have, I think, 2 balls left of this yarn, and maybe a bit of the 3rd ball, so it should be enough, to make it a bit bigger, with longer sleeves, with longer body, and I should still find buttons like this. Yeah, I like my button selection. First I knitted, then I went with the sweater to the yarn shop where they have buttons, and then I selected buttons, seeing immediately if they fit perfectly, through the hole, how I like, with the fabric, and etc. So those were a little bit more interesting, but still subtle. So yeah. And when I was buying those buttons, I also bought myself a new measuring tape. I had the one I needed to roll back with my hands, and I was really getting tired, so I bought myself the fancy one, which looked really beautiful. It was my birthday coming, and it takes itself back in, so I don't need to do that manual labor. So yeah, I really like this one, and it's beautiful. This leather, I'm not sure if it is real or fake leather, but beautiful leafy design. So yeah, I love it. It brings me joy. let's go to my first work in progress. It is this beautiful white fluffy sweater. This is my first time holding mohair with I know main strand, so it feels quite, for me, price-wise luxurious. I bought them with huge discount, but still holding and 2 strands is quite, it's more costly than holding 1 strand of the yarn, and I feel like it's really nice. I heard from other YouTubers that with those mohairs they can be scratchy if they're cheap, so I tried to buy, I know, the yarn I trust more, but when there were discounts, so it was still not costing that much. This is how much of the balls I have left. So I'm holding Dale Tynn Kidsilk Erle together with Viking Garn Alpaca Fine. And yes, those 2 yarns I bought in those natural white, because I feel like warm colors fits me better, so I don't need, paper or snow white. I think this, a little bit yellowish white will fit me better, and I love white color, and it looks for me so luxurious, because all the time in my childhood my mom said that white is not practical, I cannot have white clothes because I always get them dirty way too quickly. So for me white was left like for those, really luxurious looking, and I feel like rich people or whatever, they don't care if it is unpractical or they get damaged. So I feel like white color for me means fancy, luxurious, and these 2 yarns. It's my first time trying out and seeing how I like mohair together. Will I have it? Yeah, I think I will have it on the sweater too. The fluff. But yeah, so it feels really luxurious for me. And I'm hoping that I'm not going too small on the sweater because I love it. And again, one more time, it will be V-neck sweater. I had one white V-neck sweater which I gave it away because I was planning to knit this one. I knew that I want white V-neck sweater because I love the sweater I had, but it was a little bit too short, so I always feel a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit fixing it ourselves. So yeah, this is how long it is now. I think it's around 40, at least 40 centimeters, or a little bit maybe even longer, just to make sure that it's totally not too small for me. So this is Winter Wave sweater by Nadine, Joerg, Fauvel, and I love this pattern. The first time I saw it, it was like white fluffy cottonous sweater V-neck. So I had it for some time in mind that I can knit this sweater as my white fluffy sweater, but I had done some modifications for it. For example, in her pattern she holds 2 strands of mohair together with the main strand of yarn, and I bought before just complex of holding 1 strand of the mohair with main yarn combination. So I'm knitting with a smaller needle size. I think her sweater is knitted with 5mm needles. I'm knitting with 4mm needles, so I done some calculations. How many stitches I want for my bust, for arms, etc. And I done some body shaping, some decreases and increases to give some waist to myself. And yeah, I think it's a bit longer, but she done it reversible, but I think it's always would be in front, the V part. I felt like in some maybe one tester had reversed, and I felt like reversed looked the best. The girl who had a tattoo in the space, so the V shape was allowing to see the tattoo. So then I felt like it was the perfect match for those people. And just so sad that it had just 17, I think, or 8. I was 18th or around 20 projects in Ravelry, because this is so beautiful design. But yeah, then it will block, I think. It will show more. So I'm hoping that I didn't choose too small sizes. I'm really used to overestimate and hoping hoping that it fits, and I'm not wanting anything looser, and I think I need allow myself to get a bit looser, because looser not looser gauge, but a little bit more positive ease, because it doesn't matter that it looks baggy or unbeautiful if it has positive ease. It can have positive ease and still have body shaping and look amazing and look really nice. So yeah, now I was really fighting to knit long enough. I'm on the bottom ribbing, so I'm hoping that this will be enough, because I'm not that lazy that I will not attach if I need an extra ball of this mohair to it, but it would be one more knot to hide after a while. So yeah, knitting, and it's going quite nicely. So yeah, this is my main work in progress, and I now understood that I forgot to mention one almost finished object, which is this hat, and it is almost finished because I just need to cut the yarn. It is done. But I wasn't sure if I'm happy enough with the inside. So I was trying, and I don't know, oh no, I didn't wash my hair, or it is in the bun, so I cannot try it again. And actually I can try it again. And this is the second almost exactly same knit hat. It's a tube hat. It's similar to musselburgh hat, just has different crown shaping, I think. And so I knitted this Viking Garn Reflex yarn most of the time. Then I switched for the inside to the bamboo yarn. I think it's 50% bamboo, 50% cotton. By Viking Garn too, right? Yes, Viking Garn Bamboo. I have cheat labels here to remind myself what I'm using. So the idea is that I cannot handle any scratchiness from the hats, from the wool. My brother and my mother are allergic to wool, and for the hats I felt like, it's a really good idea because it's really warm, you have all this woolness, coldness, and you have, really soft layer inside, so it doesn't matter, how scratchy, not scratchy, pleasant, not pleasant wool is here. And I chose this. I'm hoping that it is seeable in the slide, but it is reflex, so it has grey reflex thread around this hat. So this is why I chose, I think, this color too. I think black was sold out and maybe white was sold out too, or I thought that nobody would want white. So I chose the grey because I thought that it is nice, but I bought it for 3 hats and I decided that it's boring. And I'm not the biggest fan of knitting with grey because grey looks a little bit boring to me. Especially this one. This shiny bamboo fabric and yarn, and I don't know, I loved it and knitting with it. But with this one, I still enjoy, and I think it's really good quality and looks nice. But grey is not for me, and I will show one more grey later. And yeah, as I said, today it's just black and white. And grey. So yeah, I wouldn't buy again to knit this thing because I'm just tired of the grey color, but I love how this hat is turning out, and I try to this time to add some pearl rows to just mark where the hat folds for this I don't know, hem rib. This is not rib where the hat falls, but I'm not sure if I love it or I hate it. This is one of the reasons why I think I'm still holding and overthinking about it. And this time maybe I done the inside a bit bigger, and now I'm sure maybe I should frog the crown, frog a few rounds and then finish the crown. This is why this still was not cut the yarn for a few weeks now. But yesterday I think I tried and I decided, oh yeah, it's good enough, maybe I should just finish it up, and now I'm trying it again. I think it will be fine. So my plan is now to gift, so yeah, I'm knitting 3 hats, so one was already finished, this is second, and I think, yeah, so the first hat's inside was a little bit too small, and I was expecting this, bamboo cotton yarn grow quite a lot, but it didn't grow that much. I think I've tried even to stretch it a bit, and I don't have, the blocking pads with those pins. I have a heated floor, so usually just lay flat everything to get it dry. But I was trying to stretch and I felt like I was so afraid of it growing too much over time, so I done it a little bit too small. So I think for this one I made it a bit too large. This is why I also overthink and just why I cannot do it right, you know, sometimes. But this is the problem then. I'm experimenting and, you know, knitting myself without patterns, like for example this sweater, and, you know, inventing this hat for myself, warm and cheap. But yeah, hopefully. So the first hat went to my boyfriend. He lost his hat and he lost his scarf by the end of the last season, so he needs new ones. I will share the scarf I'm knitting quite soon, and I think if I will knit these two hats, I can give one to my father, one to my stepfather for Christmas. It would be nice gifts. And yeah, since I'm quite tired of the grey color, I don't want a hat myself. And I ordered a few more, I think, ball sets, because I need 2 balls of this reflex yarn and 1 ball of this bamboo yarn for the hat, to knit a few hats for my brother and his girlfriend. But that yarn order didn't came yet. So yeah, quite a lot of hat knitting. It's not that difficult, and this was my travel project. Or, you know, even gym project, because I would want to go to my boyfriend to the gym, do my routine, he was doing his routine, and then I get, you know, decided, oh, I'm done with the gym today, so I would just take, you know, this hat, to knit this hat on while still walking on the treadmill, so I still get some, I don't know, exercise while he's exercising. So yeah, this was, or I would take it to the bus or to the car knit, or to the plane knit. But yeah, recently I had to get new plain knitting, and as I said, my boyfriend lost his scarf and started talking about buying from Primark, and I said, I can give you a better scarf. So I started knitting this scarf. This is Drops Big Merino yarn. I had 2 and a bit balls yarn left over when I was knitting earlier this year a sweater for my boyfriend. So I started knitting him a scarf, and this is why I made some yarn order, because I needed more yarn to finish the scarf, because this is way short for the scarf. And this I really sometimes like to hide the ends while I'm doing knitting, but I left them so I would be able to like measure how much, you know, the one ball, you know, lasts, so I could calculate how many balls I need to buy, because my plan is just, as I said, I don't like grey anymore. This is boring color. I like, you know, how soft the yarn is. My boyfriend likes the touch, you know, and I was, you know, knitting for him, so it has to be really not scratchy at all. He felt like that mohair maybe a bit scratchy for him felt, and he really liked that alpaca yarn I'm using with it. So when, you know, there's 2 balls, but I feel like it should be okay for me, and it's half not close to neckline, so it should be fine, even if I find it a bit scratchy or whatever, because usually the neck is the more sensitive area. But yeah, so for him it has to be super soft, so cotton, Big Merino is superwash yarn, superwash merino, and he really likes the touch. So he asked me, you know, as I asked him how, you know, the width of the scarf, so it would be foldable in half, so he would be able to wrap around. So I ordered, I think, 8 more balls, because just 1 ball has from this till this. So I started with the leftovers. I cast it on, I think, I cast it on twice. The first time I cast it on and started, this is my first time doing brioche. So this is my first time knitting brioche stitch. So I started it with 1 instructions and holding a yarn, then doing yarn overs and slipping stitches. I was keeping the yarn in wrong side, because the yarn forward, I don't know why, but in my understanding yarn forward is, you know, forward like this. So imagine the yarn here and not purlwise. And when I read another instructions that keep yarn purlwise, I noticed that, yeah, I done badly, so I frogged them and started it again. I started with a bit more stitches because I was, I think I was targeting around 50 or 56 stitches, but then I think I ended up doing 52 because I felt like this first time I cast it to 46 stitches and I felt it like it's almost well. You know, the width looked quite fine, so maybe I shouldn't, you know, overdo it, because, you know, the wider it is, the longer it takes me, and the winter is coming, as you can see, you know, behind me. It is, I started filming this video around 1 o'clock in the daytime, so yeah, it's really dark now, even it's just middle of the day, you know, time of the, you know, most lights. But yeah, so it is maybe a bit wider than needed, but at the same time I think it's really good with 52 stitches, and I use 6 stitches, 3 stitches on one side and 3 stitches on another side to make a small I-cord edge immediately knitted, so I can hide easily those ends, and I will never get, you know, those small, and I know, unbeautiful ones, because I never found, if I try to cut too closely to I tried those magic knots, I think, but they were not that magic to me, or I made them wrong, so they can untie themselves. So for me it feels, you know, a little bit better to have, you know, a little bit of the ends. Maybe they are a bit too long, but now I decided that I can leave them longer and just hide on the I-cord. So I just no need to worry about having those yarn edges showing. So that was my design, and I feel like it's really squishy and really nice, and I really like how brioche looks like. I am knitting now for 2 years, plus minus 2 or 3 years, maybe 3 years, when I'm knitting garments, and I knitted in my teenage a bit, I knitted a few socks, few mittens. But yeah, this is first time of me trying brioche stitch, and I hear about some people saying that brioche stitch is quite difficult or requires a lot of, I know, more attention. And for me it felt like, since I see the stitches and see what is happening, for me it is almost as easy as doing the ribbing. Actually, when I was knitted this quite intensely, and I went back to my winter wave sweater, then it is mostly to knit to purl rib. Most of the time it's just a little bit switch, you know, waving in a few rounds, but mostly it's rib. And I was feeling like I wanted not to knit purl rounds, because for me with the purling for brioche was just, you know, yarn over without, you know, going through the hole. So yeah, it felt easy, and I really like how these knit stitches looks like, and really nicely tight and not overly open as they become in 1x1 rib normally. So I really love how I think it is really fluffy because it's squishy, so it should be warm, because, you know, the air holds, you know, the heat the best. Those air little bubbles isolated, so that this should be really good and warm. But yeah, by my calculations I still need 8 balls of yarn, so I done some order yarn. I done it on maybe Wednesday or Tuesday's evening, and I didn't get my shipping confirmation, and it's already the weekend, so they are slowing me down. And this knit I used as my travel airplane knit recently, because I just started, initialized it, and I have those 2 balls, so it didn't took that much space to take with me yet. I think maybe scarves, when you're finishing knitting them, especially this one, can take maybe too much space by the end of the knitting. But yeah, it was just the beginning, so I have, you know, quite light and quite a useful knit to knit while we were traveling. But while we were traveling, I also splurged on some yarn. We went to Copenhagen for a concert, and while I was in Copenhagen, I really want to visit a Knitting for Olive shop. I didn't buy their yarn yet, and it was really interesting because everyone was speaking so highly about them, how good their quality is, how amazing they are. So I just wanted to go and see and check and touch it. So I went to the shop and I touched a few sweaters, their yarns. I was standing there for 1 hour maybe, thinking to buy something or not to buy, to splurge or not to splurge. And I decided not to buy because I was not unsure. The thing I liked the most, I think that was one I touched the most, I think, kids clothing, and it was like new sweater with those flower and this one sweater which was held together, their mohair together with their merino wool, I think, in that combination. And I touched the sweater, the kids sweater, and it felt so soft, so beautiful, so nice. It was just like dream come true, how fluffy and nice. But I was unsure since I didn't have any mohair sweaters yet, and I'm working on my first mohair sweater. Do I like mohair in my sweaters or not? So I was just unsure, and plus this combination, you know, holding two strands together is quite expensive. So I decided maybe if I have, you know, a real project in mind and I really want it, I can allow myself, then I will do it. But now maybe don't buy yarn just to buy yarn. And then I was thinking that Cotton Merino, I think, felt nice, but it was on 3mm needles and I didn't have any project in mind. And I have some yarn I want to finish from my yarn box, so I just maybe I shouldn't do it yet. Maybe, you know, just I know, I think October they have a discount, fall 10 for 10%, and they don't, maybe this is first time, I know, in their 3 years career and they're doing a discount. I know way more about them than I should. But yeah, I'm keeping them in mind, like yarn to try it in the future. So I decided, well, I have no idea what to knit with, and you know, with 3mm needles, you need to, okay, I need a lot of meterage, but if I don't have an idea what I want to knit with it, I shouldn't buy the yarn. And I think with their, I was thinking about their pure silk, but one of the kid dresses looked a little bit like bubbly, a little bit more used than, you know, posh new thing, and I just do I really want it or not? Is it, you know, really long lasting or not? So I was overthinking it. I didn't have any projects in mind, so I left the shop and I just, okay, I'm not buying. They will not probably don't disappear. They're a good company, you know, everyone is enjoying them. I can just, when I have a project in mind, I can just go and buy it online. It's not that bad. I live in Europe, even if I need, you know, I live in Norway, but my family is in Lithuania. If I need, I can ship to Lithuania to actually avoid all taxes, import taxes, which could be if I ship to Norway and etc. So I still can do it. It's not, you know, burning thing that I need to try it then now. Maybe first, you know, figure out what I want to do. So I went to another yarn shop and I just say, yeah, I'm just looking around, and then I touched this yarn and I decided, well, I want it now. And it is Järbo Llama silk, and it is so fucking soft and so nice. So I bought top quantity, and it is with 3.5mm needles, so this is a little bit thicker than, you know, the smallest gauge. That gave me an idea that maybe it is not that small. How is it written how many the gauge should be? Yes, the 3.5mm, and it should be 24 stitches in 10 centimeters. So yeah, and this is 70% soft baby llama wool and 30% mulberry silk made in Bolivia. So yeah, this is really soft, and I touch it. I think I first touched a really bright red, corally red, and it just, oh, it's so soft. They have in other colors, and I think I mostly wanted to take green because I really want a dark green sweater. I was thinking about maybe to knit those Sari Nordlund woodland anemone, I don't remember, top where they have all these leafy moments with that dark green, you know, and just in really detailed small details, the yarn, this should be really beautiful, I thought. But they didn't have enough dark green color, so I just took dark blue because I love blue, but I didn't knit it in blue for quite some time, as you can see. Now I'm knitting white, and I don't have in stash dark blue color, and this looks really beautiful. Hopefully that it catches the color right. So I felt in love. And they have a small scarf knitted with it. And I started doubting, it was for 1 year, they said, and everyone is touching, and it's really soft and nice to touch, so I guess everyone is touching who is entering that yarn shop. And but it felt like it may be a little bubbly, and I know that with yarn what it would help to help with mohair, if I don't want to get any bubbles in it. I know mohair helps with it, but yet again, this is so soft, and just any mohair wouldn't do it because I'm losing the softness to the mohair, so why I spend so much money on it. But as I mentioned, this is my birthday month, so I just really wanted to buy it. And this is the second sweater quantity I bought in skeins, and I don't have those skein winders, ball makers, so I will have to wind up them with hands when I will be ready to knit with them, so that will be fun. But yeah, it brought me joy. It was so soft and fluffy, so soft and so nice to touch. So I decided that I wanted it in my life, and decided to buy it because it's my birthday. That's good enough reason. Another thing I bought on that trip, not knitting related, but was these earrings. I bought them in the airport. I wanted a good quality pair of earrings, and these felt, fancy, nice, and not overly overpriced. So I decided, okay, I'm splurging. It's my birthday. That's really bad. It's really bad if you're spending way too much money than you can for just explaining, oh, YOLO, I live once, FOMO, it's my birthday. But for me, I haven't spent all September, like I'm in no buy. I didn't notice, and before this trip to Copenhagen, I just calculated my expenses for the last month, and I just see I didn't spend my money anywhere. And I'm really good at saving money, and I want to allow myself sometimes to enjoy life and splurge on myself. So this time I bought these things, and I know that I can afford it, at least maybe not every month, but I could afford it, at this time, over my yearly spending, I can afford it. They were expensive in my point of view, my really cheap and calculated side of view. They are splurge moments that they of course weren't costing thousands or whatever. So yeah, I'm splurged on myself, but at the same time I knew that I could allow myself, and I just sometimes even need to learn to let myself to spend money on myself when I really want, but I'm learning to spend it on better quality things, so I wouldn't need to buy them as often, so I wouldn't throw it away. This is at least my policy and my mindset. So the next thing I want to talk about is my sewing journey for my knitting. So the first item I want to share is this needle holder. Actually, I copied it a bit, at least its structure, from my mini needle set. I bought it from Knit Pro Denim, and they have this mini needle holder set. Here you have those mini needles for small circular knitting, and they have this nice, not taking much space needle holder, and they cannot fall out because this fold holds everything in. And so I investigated how that one was made, so I made it bigger version for my other interchangeable needles, because I didn't buy a set. I bought one by one, and it was getting more difficult to find all my needles just when they were in those separate folders, or to throw them out. So then you need to search for pairs and check the sizes. And so I just made my own needle holder. So I have some in the wood. They are, I think, drops. One they are, I think, drops maybe romance, and they're drops metal or whatever how they are called. I don't remember now. But I made so yeah. I'm thinking to buy magnetic closure button, because I think that it would be really easy to just click and I don't need to push it or whatever. And I'd done holes from, I think, 3 millimeters, which is the smallest, and I have 3 millimeter needles till 6 millimeter needles. But since I was, I think, the one side reversed, I didn't notice. So one of them are going from 3 millimeters to 6 millimeters, and this one goes to the right way, as I was intending, from 3 to 6. I don't know, from smallest to highest. One of them goes in the wrong direction, just because I left more space for 6 millimeter needles than for 3 millimeter needles, because yeah, look, I cannot put two here. But yeah, I don't have that many needles. I don't have all sizes, but I made it enough space so I could fill it in if I needed. But when I sewed it, I really want to buy all the missing needles and fill this in. And some of the needles, I think like 5 millimeters are on my brother's scarf, 3.5 millimeters were for the hat knitting, so they are laying around somewhere because I'm going to start a new hat, so I'm just leaving that combination. And I think 3 millimeters from this is in my summer knitting, because I don't have 3.5 in the metal. I don't have 3.5, 4.5 or 5.5 millimeter needles. And wooden ones I have up to, I think, 5 millimeters. So yeah, it's not full set, but I have really nice organization, and it doesn't take a lot of space. I know, I could fold it or whatever. But yeah, and I decided to make it close this way so they wouldn't fall like this. Oh, I'm hopefully holding them high enough for you to see. But yeah, so this was my sewing project. One evening went quite quickly after I figured it out. At first, I figured out all the pieces, but I didn't figure out all the lengths that well, because I needed to recalculate by the height of the needles. But now I feel like I can do a video tutorial if someone would want to sew this. And it was, for the sewing experience, I cut my all jeans, so it was recycled fabric. And in some places where is a lot of layers of the jeans, I broke one of the needles, and I was afraid that the thickest needle I have to sew was not thick enough, because of course by the middle of the day I figured out that I want to do this project. By my lunch break I calculated everything, the main conception I done, and then in the evening I have to finish it up. That's how my brain works. So I didn't have time to buy a button or buy for the jeans thicker material, correct needle size, but it turned out real well. I think it's maybe a little bit curly here, so it's not that professional, but since I had problems with that needle, I decided, well, I'm ignoring it, it works fine. It's really easy to see all my needles, with the right sizes, and it's really easy and not cluttery in my knitting stuff, small bag where I keep all these miscellaneous things. Not that they aren't, but yeah, in one thing. Another thing I sewed recently was, or the first thing I sewed for the knitting was this project bag. This was the old fabric pieces from when I sew my first dress, then I sew the shirt top, so it was like leftovers. So I have here, as you can see, the line here, because it was no high enough piece, so I have to piece it out, but it felt really nice. And I had even lined it up with the same fabric, and then I understood that these flowery busy patterns are not that easy to see what you held inside. So this is my summer project, which I was overthinking, and summer was ending, so I decided to just put it down and then pick it up again in the springtime, most likely, when I will be hit by summer knitting mood again. because it was a little bit more complicated cabling top, and I was overthinking, is it too big, not big enough, too, I know, whatever, and I was so overthinking it, so I just decided, well, I think it's time for timeout, and the cold weather was coming in, so yeah, the only thing which is my FO or UFO, not the whip you're not working on, I don't remember how it is, and I think it has a pocket or a few pockets. Oh, I think this is a small mistake because it wasn't perfect, but it has, I done one pocket, even I have no idea what I want to put in here in this pocket now. I decided that pockets always useful for the future. I hate clothing without pockets, and I thought that, you know, sewing the circle will be really difficult. It wasn't that difficult. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't that difficult as I thought. When I pinned everything together, it just had really nice edge, you know. So it wasn't that difficult, and this is, yeah, really, I know, soft fabric, so this is really comfortable project bag for summertime knitting, or for, I know, hats, scarf beginning, because I think beginning of the scarf would fit, but plus 8 more balls wouldn't fit in this one. And I totally improvised this bag again. I used the plate to cut the circle. I think my circle diameter, I think the plate's diameter was around 22 centimeters, so plus 1 centimeter and 1 centimeter for sewing allowance. I think it made 20 centimeters here, circle conference, and the height I was targeting in was, I guess, around 20 centimeters too. So I think it created quite good shape. Maybe I would made it a bit taller, maybe 25 centimeters tall, but I just didn't have enough fabric left to make it, so that I was really working with the scraps. What I quite like how it turned out, and that also inspires me not to buy knitting bags, but maybe make more myself. Yeah, I like everything improvised myself. And the last thing I brought from my sewing journey is the scrunchie. It's quite fun to make things and sew. From the last time I filmed the Knitting podcast episode, I also sewed a dress and a corset top, but I don't have energy or inspiration to model it and try to show it in the best way today, so I just decided to skip those. So this scrunchie was made from the same fabric I sew my dress, like matching thing, and anyways, useful scrunchie. But yeah, I don't have energy to show it to you nicely today. Maybe in the yearly roundup video, what I made for this year for my clothing, I will show it. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!